It was the summer of 7th grade, and my parents left me and my older brother Stephen at our grandparents' house. They were going to spend the next few months at an Aspen resort that was far too expensive for all four of us to go. I begged my mother to take me instead of my father, but it was to no avail. My grandparents lived in the inner cities, where you either play basketball, record a mixtape, or get shot. Not a big fan of doing any of that, so I spent my time indoors. It was a week or so into my trip when I stumbled across an old creepy-looking doll. It was the scariest looking thing I'd ever seen. It wore a dated business suit, and it had a clown head. My brother joked and said it was alive, and it was gonna kill me. Although I was pretty sure he was pulling my leg, part of me at the time still believed him. But to keep up an appearance, I said, "Yeah, right," and told him to get the fuck out. As soon as the coast was clear, I took the old creepy-looking doll, threw him in a toy chest and locked it. I then placed a heavy stack of books on top, and I threw the key out the window. I turned back around to go to bed, and to my surprise there sat the doll. His legs were crossed and he had a lit cigar in his hand. I ran up to him and demanded answers. "How the hell did you get out of there? And where the fuck did you get that cigar?" My grandfather soon barged in from all the commotion and asked why on God's glorious earth I was smoking his last Cuban cigar. He said he was saving that for when my grandmother finally died, and that I ruined his celebration. "It wasn't me, grandfather. I swear. It was him." I pointed to the doll. My grandfather looked at it for a moment or two. He looked back at me and rhetorically asked if he looked like he was born last week. Angered by him not believing me, I sarcastically responded that it looked like he was born last century, and that really pissed him off. He told me if I woke him up one more time that I'd be sleeping in the barn for the rest of my stay. My grandfather angrily made his exit, and as soon as he did, the doll stood up and began to speak. "That nigga really is on that bitch shit, ain't he?" I was frozen with fear. "You can talk," I said. "Hell yeah, nigga," the doll replied. "I can also spit hot fire and roll a mean-ass blunt. Where the white women at, little nigga?" "I don't know, but please, you must be quiet," I said. But the dog kept at it. "Man, I wish that old-ass nigga would come back in here. I'd beat his monkey ass. That nigga ain't shit." My door dramatically swung open, and it was my grandfather. He was as red as a tomato or a freshly used tampon. He told me to pack my bags and take my ungrateful ass to the barn for the night. I gave the now unanimated doll a dirty look and made my way to the barn. I woke up the next morning and went inside to get some breakfast. I heard my grandmother crying and screaming, so I began to run. I entered the kitchen to find my grandfather murdered. He had 8 or 9 stab wounds, and his penis was removed and shoved into his mouth. Oh no. Before I could rationalize what was happening, the police barged in, and they arrested my brother. He was the only person there that could have done it, seeing as I was in the barn all night, and my grandmother too old and weak to subdue my grandfather realistically. My parents were informed and they were on their way to pick me up. I was told to pack my bags and hang tight, so I made my way upstairs to do so. There stood the doll waiting for me. "Hey, what's good, little nigga? You see what I did to your old punk-ass grandfather?" That nigga went out like a bitch. I'm telling you, he shit himself and he was crying. The doll would have went on forever, so I decided to cut him off and insult him. "Shut your cock-sucking mouth, you pretentious cunt," I screamed. The doll's enthusiasm faded into a sadistic and intense hatred. Without words, he then lunged his body towards me. His little wooden hands made their way around my throat, and he began to scream obscenities into my face. I was fading out of consciousness when I heard 4 gunshots, and then the doll's body flew across the room. 3 police officers came in. One ran over to check the doll's pulse, and he confirmed that he was dead. "Thank motherfucking God," one of the police officers said. "I won't have to use these bad boys." He then holstered a pair of nunchucks and asked me if I was okay. About as okay as I can be in this situation. I did just see my grandfather's penis shoved in his mouth. My brother was cleared of all charges and we resumed our normal lives. I still have nightmares about what happened, but I try to forget. I hope I never meet that creepy-ass doll again. But if I do, I'll probably expose him to a wood chipper.